welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am showing you guys how I track my memories in my bullet journal. This is, I think, one of the best ways that I personally use my bullet journal in addition to keeping myself organized. It's also just a really great way to look back on the year and just see how much I've done and remember all of the great memories that I made throughout the year. So I thought I would make this video to show you what I do and kind of what my process is. So if you're interested in that, just keep watching. And if you're not already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I upload videos every single Tuesday and Thursday all about my bullet journal, my experiences working from home as an online ESL teacher, as well as lifestyle videos and travel vlogs. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so first what I want to talk to you guys about is my supplies. Honestly, all I used when I first started doing this was Sharpie pens that you can find at pretty much any Target or Walmart or even on Amazon, and washi tape. That's really pretty much it. You can start with any pen, any kind of tape, and I also have a ruler too that I like to use. I like this clear ruler. I got this from Target. It's got little gold flecks in it, but it's really nice to be able to see through the ruler as I'm drawing. What I use now, I have kind of added some things. I also use these Calligraphy Pens. I have one in small, medium, and large. I have recently been obsessed with micron pens, and these here are two of my favorite sizes that I frequently use. And then occasionally I also use this very, very thin one. And then I also will use a pencil if I'm doing any kind of sketching. And I use a Sharpie marker to write on my Polaroid. So you'll see here when I start to go through, I do have a lot of Polaroids in my bullet journal, especially when I first started. And actual Sharpie permanent markers are the best way that I have found to write on those. Now, in addition to the washi tape that I mentioned, I also recently discovered in December this Dots adhesive. This is honestly amazing. It's you just open this up basically and just roll it on, kind of like whiteout. It sticks so well with this, and I only have to use a little bit. It lasts me so long. Like, I have barely used it and I've had it for several months now, so I highly recommend this. It is a little bit pricey, but well worth it because now I don't have just huge chunks of washi tape everywhere. I would just like to have a pair of scissors handy if I'm doing anything like cutting up little mementos or things that I need to make a little bit smaller. I use my scissors to trim that up. I have two different printers that I use. I use the Instax Share SP2. This prints out Polaroid pictures, and I'll show you an example of what those look like. But they're small business card sized Polaroid pictures. If you're familiar with the Instax Polaroid camera, they're the exact same size as that. And then recently, in December, I also picked up this guy, and this has been the best purchase ever. I actually personally like this now more than the Polaroids because it makes my journal less bulky. But this is the HP Sprocket printer, and it's in, I think, just this rose gold fleck color. It prints them still at a very similar size to the Instax. They're a little bit smaller, but they lay flat in my journal, and it's just a very compact printer. So those are the printers I use to print my photos. Now that I've shown you guys all my supplies, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into what I actually do and my process for when I'm actually memory keeping in my journal. So this is the current journal that I'm using for 2019. I've only done one entry so far for memory keeping in this journal, so most of what I'm going to be showing you is in my bullet journal from last year, which is this one here. This was my first bullet journal, and this was one of my first memory pages. So as you can see, I don't have a lot here, but this is one of my favorites. A great thing that you can do when you're putting things like photos or any kind of tickets or anything like that is to just put a piece of tape on one side of it so you can easily flip things and you can write under it. So as you can see, I have a lot more underneath this drawing. You can make more use of your space by doing that rather than gluing on this side and then pasting down. It takes up a lot more room in your journal, and this allows you to just flip back and forth. Here you can see I wrote on this Polaroid with a Sharpie marker, so that's why I recommend getting a Sharpie marker, especially if you do the Instax printer, which is this one here, because otherwise every other pen I've found does smear. One of the biggest things that I love to do when I start my memory keeping is I like to have a little bit of a journaling section. I really love journaling on these pages. I've always been a really big writer, and it just helps me to remember the moments when I do have a journaling section. I'm going to show you guys a couple examples of what I have done. Here you can see what I was talking about. I used a ton of washi tape, and it really kind of is very messy, and I don't necessarily mind the messy look in my journals, but That's why I do recommend Tombow Dots Adhesive, just because it does make things lay flat and you don't have all of this chunky washi tape everywhere. But this was something that I did for the Taylor Swift concert. I went to the Reputation Stadium tour last summer with my friend Natalie, and basically all I did was I made a background of the confetti from the concert, and then I put these Polaroids on top, again writing in these with Sharpie marker, and then over here I just journaled some of my favorite moments from the concert. The great thing about this is I can go back and read this and remember exactly how I was feeling, and I love that. I think that's what's so cool about memory keeping in your bullet journal is not only are you staying organized, but it helps you flip back and look at your favorite memories from the year. Sometimes I have a lot that I want to talk about, so if that's the case, I will just journal and journal and journal, and then I basically just overlay photos on top of that. Again, still leaving space and having the ability to journal around the photos. This page I wanted to show you guys so you could see kind of the difference between the Instax and the HP Sprocket. This here was printed on my actual Instax camera. This photo though is from my HP Sprocket printer. Now, this was what I kind of wanted to show you guys, was how flat this is. This is completely flat, and to the page there is a little bit of a raised edge, but this is a much thicker photo. So if you do decide to go with the Instax, know that it's going to make your journal a lot thicker. If you can see from my journal, it's very thick as you go through. The other thing that I love about the HP Sprocket is you can make the photos smaller. So all I did was I went into PicMonkey and I basically just created a little collage and printed it on one sheet of the HP Sprocket. That's another great thing about the HP Sprocket photo printer, is that you can make the images different sizes by using something like PicMonkey. This is probably one of the favorite layouts that I've done for memory keeping. I do like to collect different mementos and things like that from the trips that I go on. I have a few stamps from where we visited, and this kind of is what creates, I don't know, kind of more of a scrapbooky feel without it being the perfectionist version of a scrapbook. But again, I made all these images smaller in PicMonkey so I can actually put a lot of photos on one page using my HP Sprocket photo printer, and then I just journaled throughout it. I really, if you can't tell, love my HP Sprocket photo printer. The first thing that I would do, that I would recommend doing when you're setting up something like this, is to kind of do a lay of where you want everything to go before you stick them down. The HP Sprocket printer does have sticky back paper, so it sticks all on its own. You don't have to do any adhesive or anything like that, but I do lay everything out before I paste anything down. And if I do want to journal, I make sure that I have a section laid out for that before I put them down, because otherwise I think what happens is you end up with like this much space to journal with. Sometimes I've even actually journaled before I've pasted it all down, just to make sure that everything I want to journal gets put in there. I also really love using Crayola Super Tips. This has been a recent obsession of mine within the last few months. I love all the colors that you can get with Crayola Super Tips. They're super cheap. I think you can actually get a small pack of them from the Dollar Tree too. I got this big pack, I believe, from Target, but you can get a smaller pack from the Dollar Tree. One of the examples that I've done this year is with VIPKID. I went to their event called VIPKID Journey, and that was earlier this month, and I just had the most wonderful time. On this page, I have all of my notes from the conference. So I did take a lot of notes during the different breakout sessions. This was everything I wanted to remember. And then on the flip side, I had kind of more of the memory keeping and goal setting coming out of that conference. The great thing that I love about this is that you can make this whatever you want, right? So I do have a lot more color here. The color of this photo is a little bit off. So what I would recommend is, if you are going to change the coloring of the photo, I wouldn't recommend changing the coloring on the Photos app of your iPhone. I would actually recommend doing this either in something like Lightroom, like an actual photo editing app, or doing it directly in the HP Sprocket app, because this kind of turned out a little orangey red, and the picture actually doesn't look like that. So that's what I would recommend. The coloring can be a little bit off on the HP Sprocket printer, so just be aware of that. So now I can flip through this, and every time I hit this page, I can check out my goals and see where I want to be. That is pretty much everything. I personally really love memory keeping in my bullet journal. I highly recommend you trying it out if you haven't already. Even if you just do something like journaling and maybe just taping in a photo or a ticket stub or something like that, just getting started with something small. When I actually first started memory keeping, I used my Passion Planner. They are absolutely wonderful. Their system, I just kind of grew out of it. I needed something a little bit more flexible like I have with my bullet journal. It's an amazing planner if you're more of a traditional planner girl. Like I said, when I first started memory keeping, I did start with these Passion Planners. You can see I did a ton of memory keeping in this Passion Planner, and I really loved it. It was absolutely awesome, and I used that for 2 years. So again, just to give you another example, I did all kinds of memory keeping in this passion planner. So again, I don't mind when things are messy. You can see I've layered it a lot. I've got a ton of stuff here. And I love that. I think that's great to flip back and see. You don't necessarily need to even do this in a bullet journal. You can do this even in your regular planner if you are a regular planner person. And it's so great to look back on and see not only my plans and what I was actually doing in my day-to-day activities, but actually seeing the memories and all the good moments. So that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this bullet journal video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button. I upload videos every single Tuesday and Thursday. Also, feel free to follow me on social media. I will post my Twitter and Instagram up on the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having an awesome week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.